Oi, 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 eitawola, shapunjani bafethu. My name is Siphiwe Moyo, aka Sipijo. It's so great to be here today. I have the honor of starting being an opening speaker at this symposium. We're gonna have some fantastic people in the room. My role is very simple today. I need to just share my life story with you. Other speakers are gonna share some great content. I have the honor of just sharing my life story. So let's chat, be on the chat room. I will be there with you as well. So if you can imagine this with me, it's in the late 90s, early 90s. I'm growing up in this very interesting place, Kaslama in the south of Johannesburg called Orange Farm. And it's an interesting time for me because it just looks like I live in three different worlds. You know, if you know Orange Farm, give me a shout in the chat. Anybody in the room who knows where that is? Anybody in the room who knows where Orange Farm is? Please give me a chat. Let's see. Let's see. Is there anyone? Yes. Noglunga says yes. Yebo, yebo, yebo. I'm always surprised when I see that someone knows Orange Farm because normally when I ask that question, I get these blank stares. People are like, I have no idea what that is, and some of them I know them from there, which is always fascinating. You know, when you feel like saying to someone, I think I know you from extension 7B. And then everyone, but you can't say that because people have rebranded themselves, have changed accent, changed hairstyles. I see a lot of people know Tando knows, Faith knows, Shy knows. So it's very, very great to interact with you. So I'm growing up in Orange Farm, early 90s. It's a very interesting time for me. It looks like I live in three different worlds. The first world in which I live in is obviously my hood, Orange Farm. It's an informal settlement, so we are all poor, but we don't even know we are poor because you know if you are poor and your front opposite is poor and your back opposite is poor, poor is normal. You can't go around telling people you are poor. Poor compared to who? You just live your life. In fact, the first time I kind of suspected I was poor was when I went to study in Vanderbilt Park in a place called Val Triangle Technicon. So I went to Valtech to study for my first degree. And I say first degree because after that, they just kept on coming, you know. Oh, what a humble guy. He is so modest, man. So when I get to Vanderbilt Park, I meet this guy. I think his name was Pete. So Pete says to me, "You know what, Piwe, for your background, you've done absolutely amazing." And I'm thinking, what background? Because for me, it was normal. So Vanderbilt Park becomes my second world for a while. My third world was a company called Mr. Price Clothing Store. So I used to work part time at a Mr. Price Clothing Store, also in the south of Johannesburg, in a mall called Southgate. I think most of us will also know where Southgate is. I believe, for those who don't know, Southgate is surrounded by some middle class suburbs like Mondio, Meredale, Naturela. Give a shout out if you're from Naturena, if you're from Mondio, if you're from Meredale. I call them middle class now, but at that time I used to think it was an area for rich people. I used to go, yo, these rich people, Baba, yo. But now I know they're just middle class, Shem. I'm joking, just like the rest of us. But that period sparked a very deep interest in entrepreneurship for me because it just looks like the opportunities that I was seeing outside of my home and outside of Orange Farm were very, very fascinating. So I want to tell you a story. I have an honor of doing part two tomorrow, but I want to just tell you my story, how I started. I'll infuse it with some lessons somewhere. It was 2004 when I started my first business. It was called Amakono Esizwe, Skills and Development. And when I started that first business, I applied for funding everywhere. I applied in the banks, I applied in the development finance institutions, and basically all of them went no, 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 no. Don't even think about it. And when they declined my applications, I complained. I cried racism, I cried sexism, I cried all the isms I could find. Until one day I sat and I thought, but maybe I could start this business without funding. And maybe I can hustle and do what I'm supposed to do. And so my first lesson that I want to just share today, never be afraid just to start. Start small, start where you are, start with what you have. You just need to start. So I started my business with no funding at all, with a little bit of savings, 100 rand, ibabab. and you just start, you hustle, and you do what you're supposed to do. So I first want to share that never be afraid to start. You don't have to wait for 100 million funding, applying ngapha nangapha, applying everywhere. Sometimes you just need to calm down, start small, and build your business. Never be afraid of small beginnings, because your latter days will be better than your former days. Your end will be better than your beginning. Do not despise small beginnings. When you are trying, you're hustling, some of the people can't see what you see. They don't see your passion, your vision. Sometimes people look at you and they say, why am I ispan? Hambo ispan, boy, ayikho lento. Sometimes you have to sit down, do that vision, make sure that you do. They don't see what you see. They don't see the kind of stuff that make you not to sleep at night. Sometimes you don't even have to explain your vision to anybody. Sometimes you have to do what is in your heart. They can't see what you see. And the very same people who are laughing at you now will be the ones telling everybody that one day we always knew he was going to succeed. But we always knew he was a pauper. We always knew he was going to succeed. But just start and never explain your dream to anybody. You don't need anybody to approve your dream. You don't need anybody to give a stamp of approval. They are not the arbiter of dreams. They are not supposed to approve your dreams. You know your dream. It haunts you at night. Whenever you sleep, you can see yourself doing it. Keep doing it. Don't worry about anybody else. Start where you are. Start small. The second lesson that I want to derive from my story in that as entrepreneurs, we must also remember that things don't just happen. Things don't just happen. If we're going to succeed in our businesses, we must have that mentality of say, I'm going to move myself from a mentality that says I deserve this, I deserve a nice car, I deserve a soft life, as we say, to one that says I'm responsible for making it happen. I am going to make my dream happen. And when that thing hit me in very, very hard, it was the 4th of July 2002. I was standing at a train station in Orange Farm called Stratford Station. This is one of my favorite stories of all time. 4th of July 2002, I'm standing at a train station. I used to take, excuse me, I used to take a train to work, train number 9003. It came at Stratford Station at 4:30 in the morning. 4th of July, I'm standing there. It's dark and it's cold. We're waiting for the train. And a friend of mine who's waiting for the same train says to me, you know what, Spicho, this thing of waking up so early in the morning to be able to catch trains at 4:30 must stop. We must work hard and get out of this informal settlement. Surely there are better lives out there. Surely we can buy ourselves cars and houses like other children, as we say. When he says that to me, I look at him, we connect like they do in the days of our lives. I'm like, Mandla, let's work hard and get out of this space, my friend. That was the 4th of July 2002. I go back to Orange Farm in 2015 and I found that my friend is still working, still traveling in that same train 13 years later, 9003. And I ask him, my friend, what happened to our dreams? We're supposed to get out of here. And my friend gives me this very philosophical answer and says to me, you know what, Spijo? It's the system. The system has marginalized us and ostracized us. And if you look at the context of this matter, and I understand that I can never judge him because growing up in an informal settlement is not easy at all. But what my friend missed was that there were many people who grew up the same way we did, who've gone to do amazing things for their lives. Some of our friends, amazing entrepreneurs, business people, doctors and lawyers, some amazing speakers speaking to you today. But same background, different results. Why? Because many of us remember that lives are not things don't just happen. Lives are not changed by intentions, they're changed by actions. So we need to stand up, make an action, and do what you're supposed to do. The third lesson that I want to just derive from our story is that never look down on yourself, especially when you start. You know, I always find this fascinating story by a guy called Lungingit. It was the 16th of January 2018 when South Africans were introduced to some guy called Lungi Ngidi, who was playing Test cricket for the first time for South Africa against India. On his debut, first time, he scores these amazing figures, 6 for 39 on debut. I know people who don't understand cricket are like, is that good or bad? Is that good or bad? I can tell you now that is absolutely amazing. So he scores these amazing figures, and the next day many Newspapers and TV articles have this great article that says a star was born today, Lungingiti. But I want to argue that a star was not born that day. A star was revealed that day. Lungingiti always knew he was a star. But everyone, when you start your own businesses, there comes a point where people can't see that you are a star. When you know you are a striker, man, you are a Ronaldo or you are a Messi or you are a Tembi because lot. When you know deep down you're a striker, but it just looks like you're sitting in the bench. When you know you should be an opening batsman like Quentin de Kock for South Africa, but at the moment you are the 12th man, busy giving other people drinks. That you are watching other people succeed and they get businesses and they get all the tenders and they got all the business. You're like, where is my gig? You are not sure whether you are being cut off or you are being pruned. But I want to just encourage you, if you are cream will always rise to the top. A star is not born, it is revealed. Your time to show that you are a star will show one day. Never give up. If you don't believe me that cream always rise to the top, you must just buy a latte. Buy a latte real quick and and try and push a spoon down. Take a spoon and push the cream from the latte down. Every time you push that cream, the latte will always be like, yeah, 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 yeah. I was born for the top, baby. I don't belong in the bottom. Why? Because a cream will always rise to the top. Noma bazama ukukunyathelela phansi, boy. As uPro says, ungapheli umoya sana. I wish I could sing that song. Ungapheli umoya sana. Noma bazama ukukudonsela phansi njengeskipho esivala umkhaba, ungapheli umoya sana. Please don't give up, because when you start a business, one of the things that we know about the business is that business goes through what we call an S curve, and my business went through the same. When you start out in your business, um, it takes a very long time for people to know what you do. You almost like you have this line where you are just stagnant for a very long time. But there comes that point where you experience exponential growth. It's like business after business. People start knowing about you. People start knowing that there's this guy who runs this business, and you experience exponential growth. If that has not happened to you yet, receive. Prophet Moy. But that's how it happens. And then you experience exponential growth. After a while, if you do nothing with your business, then you start stagnating or you reach that plateau. And if you do nothing in that plateau, and then you reach that inevitable decline. That's why it's very important to keep disrupting yourself, keep starting something different in order for you to succeed. So you will experience that exponential growth. For me, in my business, I started my first business in 2004. As I said, I'm a corner Sizwe. It went for a while, and then my business just failed. I'm a corner Sizwe failed, and then I started my second business. It was called SGA Gospel. If you know, if you know a mall called Palm Springs Mall in the Val, let us know in the chat. If you know a mall called Palm Springs Mall, let us know in the chat. So my second business was called SGA Gospel. It was at the Palm Springs Mall, in also in the deep south of Johannesburg. So it was a gospel shop. We used to sell CDs and and some gospel stuff, CDs, DVDs, and some gospel stuff. Come 2008, we have the global financial crisis, and people are starting not to sell DVDs anymore, buy CDs anymore, because the digital transformation was also happening. My second business failed. SGA Gospel falls and fails. I'm deeply hurt by the crisis. I'm getting into serious trouble. Serious trouble. I am now in debt. I am now listed on every bureau. I was listed on every bureau. I was blacklisted so much that I had about 5 judgments to my name. 5 judgments. And I remember I was so broke that when another creditor called me and said, Siphiwe, you owe us money. We are going to blacklist you. I would just laugh. I'll be like, blacklist me. I'm already blacklisted with 5 bureaus. So what difference will the sixth one make? That's how trouble I was in. So that business failed. They almost took our house. Many people might know I lost my car. Not that that's a glamorous story, but that's my second business. I want to show you how that particular business has failed as well. My third business was the business that I have now called Paradigm People Solutions, a consulting business. My fourth business was Twice Blue, and in all those failures, I have to encourage you and say now uvugile umalambane. If you know how to translate that on the panel. Uvukile umalambane, boy. And that has turned around. And uvukile umalambane, my business is doing so well now. I have the privilege. I teach in 5 business schools. I teach at Gibbs, at Wits, at Henley, at Stellenbosch, and the Johannesburg Business School. Ingena ngapha nangaphi imali, boy. Sometimes nokuzibuza ukuthi manje le ibuyaphi. And I'm not saying that to gloat, but I'm saying that to encourage you that sometimes we go through that gestation process. Sometimes things are not going as well as we want them to go. We keep working, we keep hustling. Things are always going to turn around. Your business is not going to end here. Your business is not going to end in this challenging time that you are in. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to share some of the lessons that I've derived from that. I want to tell you that when you think about your business, think about your business this way. Are you the guest speaker in your business, or are you the conference host? I'm going to share other lessons tomorrow because I'm speaking again tomorrow. But as we start today, I want to ask you, are you the guest speaker in your business, or are you the host of the conference? Stick with me with this analogy. As someone who speaks mainly in the country, but sometimes all over the world as well, I'm often a guest speaker at other people's conferences. But I've also had the privilege of being the host on organizing some of my own conferences as well. And the mindset when you are a guest speaker and when you are the host of the conference is very, very different. For example, when you are a guest in somebody else's conference, you arrive maybe, let's say, 30 minutes to 1 hour before your slot. You look like a guest speaker. You smell like a guest speaker. You know that there's a guest speaker smell. It's that kind of smell when you walk into the conference room. There, people are like, yo, hey, baby, baby, hey, baby, baby. Yeah, that's the kind of vibe you have. So you walk in about 45 minutes before your slot. You look like a guest speaker. You smell like a guest speaker. When you walk into the conference venue, normally there's a lot of congestion at the parking. People can't find parking at all, and it's just a little bit of a mess. But as a guest speaker, you don't get involved in that. You have guest speaker parking, darling. You just walk in there. They give you your slot. Here's your parking, Mr. Moyo. You're like, all right, that's cool. You park there, and then normally at the conferences like the symposium, this symposium we had it in Pretoria about a year or two ago. And there's normally a registration where people are registering, so the queue is long. But as a guest speaker, you don't get involved in that queue, darling. They give you your tag. Someone just gives me your tag. Here's your tag, Mr. Moyo. You walk into the room, and if you are speaking and the mic shuts down, or the screen shuts down at the back, as a guest speaker, you don't get involved. You just fold your arms, and then someone is going to sort it out. Someone is always ready to sort out the AV stuff because you're a guest speaker. But when you are hosting the conference, first of all, you are there 2 hours before everybody. um, if if there's congestion at the parking, even if you are wearing a suit, ne? Even if you are wearing a suit, you take your jacket off, you fold your sleeves, and you go alleviate the parking problem. You do something about it because you are not a guest speaker, you are the host of the conference, right? You do something about it, even if you're confusing everybody and they don't even know what you're doing. But you're just like, oh, yeah, boy, oh, yeah, boy. And they're confused, but at least you are doing something. If that registration table is too long, you start another one and you register people yourself. Why? Because you are not the guest speaker, you are the host. If you are speaking on a stage and the mic shuts down and the screen shuts down As the host, you don't fold your arms. You do something about it. Even if you don't know how to fix that AV or sound desk, at least what you do, you intimidate the AV people. You just stand and go, and then they know they must fix it. They do something quickly and fix it. Why? Because, excuse me, you are the host, not the guest speaker. I feel like some entrepreneurs, Buffett, they have a bit of a laissez-faire attitude about their careers, about their businesses. Your business is failing. You're like, what can we do? They are better, boy. What can we say? No, 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 Buffett. You're not a guest speaker in that business. You are the host of the conference. You are the host of the conference. If things are not going well, go out there, hustle yourself, take your jacket off, fold your sleeves, and go hustle because your business is not going to end that way. So, in closing, I want to just summarize some few key lessons that I wanted you to know as we start the symposium. Number one, understand things don't just happen. Number two, do not despise small beginnings. Do not despise small beginnings. If your business is small now, it does not mean it will be small all the time. Look after the clients that you have. Look after your current gig because your current gig will open the door for your next gig. Your current clients will open the door for your bigger clients. Never treat clients as if they're too small, they're not worthy of your time. Treat them well because the more you treat them well, the more it opens the door for the bigger clients. Number three, be dissatisfied with where you are. There's always more. There's always more, and dissatisfied in a good way, not in a discontented kind of way. Have a personal vision and say, I want more. My business could be more. I need to work with my own hands. I can do more with this. Number four, master the art of knowing how to perform where you are, even if you have a bigger vision. Master the art of performing. Look after the current clients that you have, and make sure that you look after them. Number five, get rid of fear. One of the things that hold us back is fear, Bafred. We are fearful to pitch our businesses. We are fearful to hustle and knock on those doors. Please get rid of fear and go somewhere and make something. And lastly, understand that someone is always watching how you service your current clients. Someone is always watching how you look after your current client. Someone is watching you how you service them. Someone is watching your passion. And one day someone is going to see you and say, I want that service for my bigger contract. I have a privilege now of my business. I work with some of the biggest companies in South Africa. In fact, almost all the companies that are in the top 40 JSE, I've worked with them. The Pick and Pays, the FNBs, all the banks, actually, all the banks, most of the retailers, most of the mines, I have the privilege of working with them, but it didn't start like that. It started because I tried to look after your client. So let's keep going, guys. Our businesses will not end here. The best is yet to come. Your best days are ahead of you. Keep hustling, never give up. Ngaphela umoya boy, sohlangane sangithini.